Ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a real treat tonight on Sportswire Radio because our guest has been here time after time after time. And we would say, he couldn't win the big one. He couldn't do this. He couldn't do that. Well, you know what? He finally won that Bolton Town Wrestling Undisputed Championship less than 2 weeks ago. And coming up about 48 hours from now, he has a chance to go 2 for 2 in world championships and establish himself in history, in my opinion, as a made man in GT Ministries, especially in Chronicles 2 against Rarebit, the current champion. Our guest needs no further introduction, but because he is the now reigning, defending, Bolton Town undisputed champion of the world, and he has a chance to establish, as I said, his road in history in the UK. He has to get that introduction that he always gets each and every time here, especially hours before his match, as I just stated, for the GTM World Heavyweight Championship. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one global sports show, the reigning, defending, BTW, undisputed champion of the world. They call him the Vigilante of Pro Wrestling, Bentley. The champ is here.
Hey, how's your throat, Tom? Are you all right?
We'll get to that, but I want to congratulate you because, again, the reason I gave you that applause before anything else, anybody that we haven't had on Sportswire that has deserved this moment over the past year and a half that I've gotten a chance to know you and come on with you every single time we get you before a match, whether it's in GTM or Bolton Town, it's you, my friend. So first of all, congratulations.
Thank you very much. It means a lot. I mean, I've had a lot of people coming out and saying thanks and that I deserve it, but I'm more grateful for those people who've actually seen that in me and given me that opportunity.
9 years. 9 years you've worked for this moment. You spoke about that. You're here now with the title. I mean, so I'm going to go right off the top before we get into the Fountains Church, everything else with Rarebit, the War of Words. I'll get to that. But now, what does it mean to you right now to be the BTW undisputed champion of the world?
It's hard to put into words because, it was something I was chasing after for such a long time. I didn't really know what to say after I'd won either.
You were kind of almost like put on the spot. And then it was like you just said, 9 years and you thanked everybody, told everybody to get home safe and see you next time. And it was kind of one of those moments that you never prepared for almost.
Yeah, I kind of had, in the back of my mind a speech if I did win.
Sure.
And kind of just, it all went out in that moment anyway.
I thought after you got hit with the lead pipe, I didn't know if you were going to get up. And I think everybody was just like so in disbelief that you were able to find a way to kick out. Then again, it was a few seconds later you kicked out.
I didn't think I was going to get up either, I'll be honest. It was just instinct. So it's hard to put into words. I am grateful for the opportunities. I'm grateful just to defend this title. So I'm not going to be one of those champions who goes, put me on this show so I can defend my Bolton title somewhere else. The only place I'm going to defend this title is in Bolton. If you want a shot at this title, you got to come to Bolton, but I'll defend it proudly. Like, it's the one thing that, it means. I want it to mean something in Bolton. I don't want it to be just loaded out everywhere else.
Sure.
Because, I've become Bolton. Like me and Bolton, the atmosphere in that place is
Oh my
incredible.
God. And I was glad you brought that up because it was so electric. You could feel, and I almost, in a way, even though I'm in New York watching the match, and I got a chance to watch it a few times, it was emotional. That crowd, afterwards, you saw the people cheering and people getting up and all the kids. And, the people really believed in you. They wanted you to have this moment. And I think that in a lot of ways, that electricity had to have given you the adrenaline to hang in there because what Jack and Drill were basically putting you through. I mean, Jack even said you didn't have the killer instinct, but I think the fans, that electricity there in Bolton Town kind of willed you there to get you over the finish line and finally be here with that title.
Well, it was the fastest I've ever made my entrance because I literally got out, like I did my entrance pose, and then as soon as I got up, I felt the energy, and I was shattered by the time I got to the ring. The energy in the building just fed me, and I sprinted round, did all the usual, and by the time I got in the ring, I was shattered. I had to take a breather whilst Jack was coming out because I think it was more I was connecting with the audience and the atmosphere and just getting in that zone. So yeah, me and the fans there, we worked together.
I felt it was something different. I almost felt that there was a moment that I guess it was coming all together, coming all in place. I've covered a lot of things in sports. I've covered college basketball, university athletics, whatever you want to call it. And I've been there in the postseason and I could feel it. And I kind of felt like I was, whether I'm at a football game around the world or a basketball game here in America, I felt like I was back to my days covering professional sports and university athletics. And did you kind of feel that same way? Because I just felt something was different there 2 weeks ago. And that kind of was almost in the moment. It was all forming together.
Well, yeah, funny you say the sports because some people I know have seen the videos from not being there, just from the winning moment. They've said it's because the people who aren't fully into wrestling and they're not, and also people within wrestling, you don't get that sort of atmosphere very often, especially
No.
especially in indie wrestling and in the type of places we wrestle. So it's rare for that to happen. And a lot of people have said, it was just like the kids, it was like their favorite football team had just won the league or just won the cup, the Champions League. So that means so much to me because I know how much, belief support I have for a sports team, like my Blackburn Rovers. I mean, they're terrible, unfortunately.
But, well, my friend is a fan of Tottenham in Premier League. So, I mean, I hear it all the time.
So I know how much it means for something like that, someone to support something that much. So it means the world. And just to see little kids being that excited about it and not wanting me to win, it's like I said, it is hard to put into words.
And how did that make you feel seeing all those kids get up? And the only other moment I could think of in doing this of 5 years was maybe when Reynaldo won the LWF title, where I saw that type of adrenaline. But I think this kind of went over the top, no pun intended. And basically it was a little bit bigger than that because I just felt like you could hear that from the very first minutes in that match. I mean, the crowd was deafening. I mean, it was deafening. It was loud. And then to see it almost, and you did it, and it was like, Bentley won the title. Bentley won the title. It was just, to me, it just had something else. And I mean, did that almost in a way, I guess, make it more special for you? I mean, you had to have felt something seeing all those kids there that have believed in you, because a lot of people, this moment should have happened a long time ago. It was referred to in the match. You beat Rarebit. That should have been your moment then. And it finally happened, though. I mean, talk to me about that.
So I think there was a sense of relief.
I know, because I have called you the Almost Man, the Lex Luger, and I know the announcers kind of referenced that. Jack had referenced that, and when you got hit there, basically everybody was kind of like, okay, Bentley doesn't have the killer instinct. He doesn't know how to put people away. So, I mean, I'm sure, listen, you've heard the footsteps. You have heard those footsteps, and you've heard them on here for a long time.
So, yeah, it was relief, and, there was moments where thought about, it's never going to happen. Like, I might just retire soon. Like, in all honesty, it's just if it was never going to happen, then it was never going to happen. And I thought the moment may have gone, but it didn't. It was a massive relief. It was just, I'm not one of those. Well, I find it hard to articulate, as you can see, how I actually feel in that moment.
Because it's emotional, because it's an emotional thing, because it's like, we have been talking. You have had so many title matches. I know we had the GTM title. I'm going to get to GTM in a second, but I felt like this moment you should have had a long time ago. When I think about with Jack, the wars you've had with him in the multiple promotions, Rarebit we're going to certainly get to. I feel like this moment, of anybody that I've had on Sportswire that's deserved it, it's been you. I mean, I'm going to listen. I don't want to shoot too much, but I felt like a few months back when you had that GTM title, that was your moment. It should have been your moment. And frankly, it was hokey, the whole thing on how it happened. I mean, I think that you should have been the champion then. You should have held. I even go back to the whole situation in Jack and GTM, Disciple. There's nobody, I think, that has been put through what you've been put through. And to finally see you have it, I think a lot of people are kind of like, it is a relief, but you deserved it. There's nobody, I think, that has deserved this moment more than you.
Well, thank you. I mean, I've worked hard. Like, I've picked myself up time after time after time after
Pretty
time.
much.
Yeah, the biggest hit was the GTM title. I thought I'd done it. And then Rarebit took it away. So that was the biggest hit, and I had to pick myself up. But that actually, if anything, that gave me that extra, drive, because I won 2 Rumbles and won a title, within 2 months.
Well, I'm going to get to that. Because, again, you went from a guy that was never to almost a guy that could be in the stratosphere. I'm going to get to all that surely. Let me say hello to some people here. I got a couple different people out there. I want to say hello, obviously, to management here from GT Ministries, who I have a big plug for, because we're actually working on some improvements here on Sportswire. Congratulations, Bentley, on the BTW Championship win. We wish both you and Rarebit the best ahead of this Saturday at Chronicles 2, which we're going to be able to plug here shortly. We have some links where you can actually watch the show. I want to say hello to somebody in California, actually 2 people in California. The first of 2 is Skulls, the Soul Hunter. Says, good afternoon, gentlemen. He also says that he's going to be giving you a shout out on his show, Skulls Talks, this weekend. So we appreciate that, Skulls, very much. He says, congratulations on your victory. Also from California. Also, I think they live actually not too far from each other. Skulls and Anastasia Racina. Hello, love the photo of you as a child holding a belt. I actually want to bring that up. That's a great point by Anastasia. And years ago, whatever it was, 20 years ago, whatever it was, 19 years ago, fill in the blanks, right?
I was 30 a month ago, so 20 maybe.
Okay, so I was kind of right on the money.
Yeah.
But the point is that you held that belt and you were a little boy, and to here we are now, you're a world champion of one of the most respected companies in the UK. I speak with wrestlers from all over the place, and they say Bolton Town. That's a company I love watching. Bolton Town, they do things great. They have a great roster. Their videos are first class. Isaiah Quinn is one of the best commentators, I think, around, one of the best minds in the business. Jimmy's a great announcer as well. I mean, everything about Bolton Town is a special place. You've got this moment. Is it everything that it was cracked up to be 20 years ago when you were a kid to where we are now and you're a world champion for real?
Well, like I said in the post, if you'd have told that kid that he'd won a title, he probably got too excited and think it was in the WWE. So, but all joking aside, it means I don't know what that kid would have been like. That kid just loved watching wrestling and didn't really think about that at the time. Didn't think, if that was ever possible. Mm-hmm. So to actually go and achieve something. So it's basically the age-old story. If you want something, go out, give it a go, and you might just achieve it. My goal when I started to wrestle was to have one match, and look where we are now. It's escalated to this, but in a good way, obviously.
No, I mean, listen. Yeah. What you think about the opponents that you've had, and the rumbles that you've won. I mean, Franco, I remember getting you after Franco Varga, Disciple, the wars with him, Jack, Sean Only, Rarebit. I mean, Gareth. I mean, listen, you've had, a number of opponents that you've been able to get over the finish line with, but to have this moment, I think it's a really special thing here, and I want people to obviously support Bentley. You can do that on Instagram at Bentley_wrestler, Twitter at Bentley Wrestle, Facebook, the.vigilante.bentley, and YouTube. He's got a YouTube page now, YouTube Bentley Wrestler. Also, GT Ministries on all of their platforms. Go and check them out. Also, Sportswire Radio. This is our page here, so please make sure you continue to support us here. And also, I have a few more comments. Skull says, never stop living the dream. Bentley as a world champion. And obviously, Mr. Angel is tuned in here because I'll get to the card itself. I want to plug Chronicles 2 in a little while. But Bentley has grown so much since we first faced each other in June 2021. He's battled hard. He deserves every success he's now getting. I look forward to seeing where our paths may cross in the future. I'll certainly get to that and Mr. Rarebit himself in a little while. So I have to ask you a fun question first before I get to November 3rd in Bolton Town. What's the first thing you did with the Bolton Town Undisputed World Championship?
Open challenge.
Okay, so you basically figured, okay, I'm gonna with the title not do anything else. I'm just gonna have an open challenge.
I thought you meant, what's the thing I did when I won it or November?
Yeah, what's the first thing you did as champion? I mean, what did you do? Did you celebrate with family? What was the first thing? Because I always feel like I ask this question when somebody wins the championship for the first time. I was just curious, what did you do with it for the first time?
So I went home. Obviously, and then I didn't take the title belt out with me, but I did go out to celebrate because I didn't want to lose it. So I went out with a couple of friends, from who live in our building because they came to watch. We went to a local bar, and was there till 3 a.m. Left the title belt at home because I wasn't losing it and not being.
And that's a pretty belt, by the way. I say
it's very heavy, so I might actually put it down.
You can put it. You're Bentley. I mean, listen, I see anybody. It. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is a belt. I'll tell you what. That is a belt that a lot of people are going to certainly want to go out and have their crack at. But you can follow and watch Bolton Town Wrestling. Bolton Town Wrestling on Facebook, on Instagram. Check them out. Bentley is a huge part of things there. And again, November 3rd, open challenge. I mean, talk about that. I mean, I'm surprised you went right off the bat in the jugular and said, okay, I'm going to go with an open challenge. Can I talk about that mindset there, champ?
Well, like I said, I want to be a champion who gives people opportunities. I don't want to be, get a group around me, get a drill around me. Oh, no, you can't beat me because I've got this big.
We don't want to see Drill. First of all, we don't want to see Drills like you around you because Drill was dressing up almost like he was trying the three faces of Foley back in the Rumble last time and did some costumes that I don't think we appreciated or wanted to see.
We did not know. But what I want to do is kind of like, your John Cena open challenge with the US title and all that sort of stuff. I want to I want to defend it. I want to showcase it. I want to put on the best matches. I want to just show what Bolton has got to offer and what we have got to offer, to the world. So, but I also only want to open it up to people who have never had a shot at the BTW title. Because
is that a personal thing? Is that a personal thing?
No, it's not a personal thing. It's more of an opportunity thing because the amount it's so hard to get these opportunities. So hard, and you've got to work your way up, or you've got to know somebody, or you've got to weasel your way in, or you've just got to I just don't want any politics. I don't want any, people thinking they deserve it. So I'm just there you go. Who wants it?
You spent 9 years, and obviously you've worked your way up the ladder. I've known you now just about a year and a half, pretty much. I've had you on, I think I counted. I think I might have had you on 10 times at this point, give or take. I pretty much would have to say it's close to that number. It's you and RPD, I think, in appearances all time on Sportswire from wrestlers in the UK. I would pretty much think that's where it's at right now. But was there ever a point that you were like, you know what? I don't know, just for different reasons. I mean, even when we go through this dance, and I know you're not going to tell me maybe the real answer, but had to have had some obviously, doubts. I mean, what's your opinion on that?
Oh yeah, I had doubts all the way through. Like, obviously, there was tough times. There's times where nothing was happening. I was getting screwed out of opportunities left, right, and center.
I mean,
So
even with Disciple and GTM, I mean,
yeah,
there was just all those different hokey things you went through there in that situation before Rarebit with the briefcase. I mean, even that in itself.
and that's I've just been through the ringer. I've had to dust myself off. I've had to pick myself up. I've had down moments. I've had days where I've not wanted to get out of bed because of it, and days where I've just not wanted to do anything. But I've had to drag myself, get myself to the gym, get myself to training, eat right, just do everything I can just to gain that advantage and get myself back to normal. So yeah, there were doubts, always doubts. I even considering retiring at one point. So
Wow, I would never have expected that point because I would have always thought, okay, well, you're Bentley, the vigilante of pro wrestling. We always need a vigilante, but I mean, that's a really heavy comment there that you would have thought about retirement. I mean, I just never would have guessed that at this point. I mean, I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you won. So then when you hit the justice kick and it was 1, 2, 3, I mean, have you replayed that in your head over and over and over?
I've watched it over and over and over.
You'll never get sick of that, by the way. You'll never get sick of that.
Especially because it was that kind of moment where it was more of a, this is it, because Jack was biting me in the head. It was a long battle.
And Jack even tried to run away. He wanted to lose the match by countout because we know if he had lost by countout, you wouldn't have won the title. I mean, even that was like bizarre in itself.
Exactly. So it was a special night. The atmosphere was there. Everyone except Jack and Drill wanted me to win. So it was a team effort to everyone.
It was special. No, it was definitely a special moment. And we are here on Sportswire Radio speaking about a lot of special things ahead for the vigilante of pro wrestling, Bentley himself. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. I am the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio, the #1 global radio station, and your voice of all wrestling. And if you want to follow Bentley again, we have the ticker now. We have a ticker. We have a banner. We have a logo in the right-hand corner. So all the things if you want to support Sportswire Radio. And Bentley's on Instagram again at Bentley_wrestler. He's on Twitter at Bentley Wrestle. He's also on Facebook at the.vigilante.Bentley. On YouTube has a new YouTube page where you can see videos, content, Bentley Wrestler. Also want to support the Fountains Church here because when you want to watch Bentley maybe go 2 for 2 in title matches, you can do that on YouTube at Wrestling Church _FCB. Also, if you want to support GT Ministries and the Fountains Church, we have their website up there where you can donate, get involved. There's a lot of ways that you want to help GT Ministries and the Fountains Church. We've put that there in the ticker. It's fountainsbradford.org/wrestling. Very, very simple. And I'll be back here with more coverage tomorrow. And Bentley's chair will be the rock idol of the UK, Jenny Hayes, who did commenting a few months ago at the all-women show, the first ever one for GT Ministry. So Jenny's going to talk about what she's up to. She's kind of taking a break from wrestling, also from music for a little while, because she's obviously expecting her first child with the chairman of Nonstop Action Wrestling, Joshua Snow. So very, very excited about that. But right now we are having a great time with Bentley himself, the brand new Bolton Town Wrestling undisputed champion of the world. Now, Bentley, we've got that opportunity. There we go. That's right. There we go. And by the way, before I get to GT Ministries, Scoes would like to say that it looks similar almost to the NXT UK title. That's what he said. That's his. It does, yeah. Well, but I think it's better because you've got the Bolton Town title, and we love Bolton Town on Sportswire Radio. But obviously here, the vigilante of pro wrestling, Bentley, you've got this opportunity to go 2 for 2 in championship matches here in about 48 hours from now. But apparently, it has been the talk of all socials, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram, especially if you're a GT Ministries fan, that our champion, Rarebit, the monster himself, gave some rare words, literally rare words, Bentley, and he basically said in front of your family that this could be your funeral coming up here. So you may have won the title, but here we go again in Bolton Town. It could be maybe a short-lived moment here because could we be looking at your funeral here in the Fountains Church in Bradford? Because Rarebit, in a very amount of few words, basically said a lot that he's going to do to you. So for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, the vigilante of pro wrestling, your reactions to what Rarebit wants to do to you Saturday night in the Fountains Church.
Listen, he's a big man who doesn't speak many words.
Yes, that's why I was surprised. Rarebit, I can count on my hand how many words as he said in my career on Sportswire and covering him.
And if he feels the need, to try and scare me, does that not mean he's intimidated this time?
Interesting.
I put a video out first pretending to be scary, and then
you did.
Well, and it's going to be me and Rarebit. We faced off in Bolton, and we kicked 7 bells out of each other.
We know what happened. Listen, we know what happened. We spoke about it last year on the show.
Yeah, we took each other to the limit. Me and Rarebit have known each other for a long, long time. We were tag team partners on one GTM show. We were meant to be tag team partners when he cashed in on me. So we've had this long relationship where I thought we had an understanding, but obviously not. Obviously, greed and wanting to be better than everyone or wanting to have that title. I don't want to just put it down to him having a mask. He chooses to wear that mask. The mask doesn't choose, him. It's more of him toying with himself, I would say, rather than it's more of the confidence he gets from wearing the mask to be who he truly is, who is an absolute monster, it could full well be my funeral on Saturday, but it's definitely going to be his funeral as well. So if one of us is going down, we're both going down, because let me tell you, it's going to be one of the hardest hitting matches GTM's ever had.
That's saying a lot, because you've been in some wars, by the way. You've been in some wars in GTM. I've covered you a while. I mean, I think about Sean Only. I think about Gareth even 2+ years ago. I think about the wars with Jack in GTM, Disciple. I mean, you've had some wars here. Obviously, the Rumble win in itself. So you have had wars, to say the least. So then I have to ask you then, as a follow-up, I mean, is it fair to say, Bentley, that after this match, you and him, your careers in GTM, regardless of the outcome, it'll never be the same?
Oh, yeah. It's one of those matches where it's going to take years off both our careers.
Yep.
No doubt about it. We both hit incredibly hard. We both are probably him more than me, don't really care about our own body because he's a lunatic. I'll put my body on the line for anything, especially to, rid places of monsters like him. So it's going to be meat on meat. You Will Hobbs. Was it Will Powerhouse Hobbs and who was it on the AEW recently? And Miro. Meat slapping on meat. Yeah, well, it's going to be a war.
But I also feel like that there's a lot that is built up here. Let's even just go from the GTM angle. He took the title from you, and he promised he wouldn't do it. He wanted to do it the right way, and then he kind of basically reneged on that. You went through a lot in the Rumble to get through this spot. You lasted a long time. You hung in there. And this is the mind games from Rarebit here already that's being played. So I almost have to ask in a way, do you think it is mind games by Rarebit, the champion? Because as you stated, it could be his funeral. Maybe he knows that there's something different because, again, from what we learned in Bolton Town is that you have the killer instinct now. You have it because you did it. You have finally did it. You now know what it takes to win. You've won the big one.
Exactly. And do you want to know why I became the vigilante?
I want to know anything you want to say on your mind. You said your show, Bentley.
So I was sick and tired of the way people treat other people in the world, just in general. Never mind wrestling, in general.
Sure. Especially these days in the world.
Especially now. people step on other people to get what they want. People don't, if you could die, nobody would care because everyone's selfish. It's very, out there. But
well, this is scary you said that because I was on
yeah.
a radio show. I do work on a radio station Wednesday nights, and my co-host was like, "Well, greed is good," and it seems like that is kind of the thing in the world. You mentioned greed a few minutes ago. That's kind of sad in a way.
What I kind of meant by that was more like you work for a living, you die, work will replace you in a week, things like that. So
sure.
People will step on people, and I was sick of it, and I was sick of the little guy never getting a chance because the people aren't confident enough to step up for themselves, and the people who trust people and people let them down, or people turn their back on them, or people go behind the back and do things they said they want to do. So that leads to what Rabbit did to me. Rabbit, we had an understanding. I told him to cash in when the time was right, not for both of us,
right?
Not for him. The time there because he knew what I'd been through. He knew I'd just been through that.
You guys had a lot of history together, inside and outside the ring. There was like an understanding of what you went through. There's nobody again to me that has went through what you've went through to have this moment. I mean,
exactly, and he knows that. Although the man speaks in riddles, the man
he barely speaks at all.
Yeah,
let's be honest. I mean, Bentley. Again, GTM in Bolton Town, from what I've seen from Rarebit, he doesn't speak much altogether. So the fact that he even said what he said yesterday, I think kind of added a new feather here, a new layer to this match.
So when he actually speaks and he actually comes out, it's personal for him as well.
Sure.
So he's got a lot riding on this because he chose to make this happen. He chose to leave an imprint of a briefcase on my back for about 3 weeks. He chose to take the moment that Bolton was the biggest moment ever. He took away a moment before that could have been.
It should have happened in GTM. Yeah. Listen, this moment, it should have been here in GTM, especially because I think what you've went through in GTM actually exceeds what you've went through in Bolton Town. Because again, I've mentioned the opponents, and I really know you more from GTM. Yes, Bolton Town, we cover Bolton Town. We have a lot of friends that overlap in Bolton Town, sure. But to me in GTM, this is really where you should have had this moment in. In GTM, everything you went through with the opponents I've mentioned that you've had in GTM, it should have been here in this moment, and you had the moment and he took it away, and he did it in a way that it wasn't the right way to go about it. Now, sure, it's his right. He had the briefcase. He was entitled to it. I would ask Disciple these same questions in the past. He had in the back of his mind, but you had just won the championship. So it shows you that this man, he knows clearly what he's doing. He's not a man, but I have a feeling after what you've said and what you've learned 2 weeks ago, you're another level right now. And I have to ask you, we spoke about the crowd in Bolton Town 2 weeks ago, but you're going to, like I said, you're going to never be the same after this match in the Fountains Church, the main event. You're going to need this crowd in Bradford just as much as you needed it in Bolton Town. Talk about the crowd here and how much you're going to need them, because Rarebit is not going to let go of this championship very easily.
Yeah, I am. I am going to need the crowd just as much as I did in Bolton. And fortunately, I do have a special connection with the Bradford crowd as well as the Bolton crowd.
You definitely do. I tell you, the crowd in Bradford believes in you just as much as they do in Bolton Town. I'll tell you that much.
But there is a small portion of the crowd in Bradford who are Rarebit fans. So it could be a bit of a hostile atmosphere for both of us.
So how does that make you feel, though, then? How does that make you feel?
I think Rarebit, because he's only recently gone against, what everyone liked about him. He's on recently. People may still think, he's still got that in him, or he's still, he could be a good again, or, or they may just like the character because he's a monster. So,
people always have a fascination with big men, attractions, monsters. he has that, no question. And again, we saw him make short work of Jack Johnson in GTM at the last big show in the Fountains Church. And I want people to follow GT Ministries as well on all of their platforms. I made it very simple for everybody here on the ticker, because all you have to do is go to GTM on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and go to GT Ministries UK. And I want to give a shout out to our friends also that we think might be a new sponsor of ours here on Sportswire Radio, Dooley, because Dooley is a platform that's looking to do some voting on stipulations, matches. They do race car driving, and they're looking at us here on Sportswire Radio. Check them out. Sign up at Dooley.com, Instagram, Dooley Official. I want to thank Ed Pizzo, Maria Tasai, Jerry for their support. So if you want to check them out, please do so. But, I was curious, because speaking of briefcases, I was wondering, before I come back into the match for a second, we have a big match coming up here, which is going to decide who is next going to have that Stairway to Heaven briefcase. We've got Alex Boylan. Of course, Alex Boylan and you kind of attached in two opposite different directions as always. Jimmy Jackson, who's made quite an impression, by the way, and this guy has done a lot in the UK wrestling scene. I just love watching this guy, and his match with Gareth speaks for itself. Jack Johnson, of course, Sulphur. Can never forget about Jack Johnson. And the wild card, Tommy Dillon, who actually is somebody that we've seen before quite a bit in the past and has obviously been a world champion before. And all these guys bring something unique to the table. So I'm curious, and what do you think here in this match? And do you have maybe an opinion, should you take the title from Rarebit, on who you think would win this briefcase?
Listen, I'll have to have learned from last time. So if I do, or when I do beat Rarebit, I'm going to have eyes in the back of my head, because whoever wins that could, it's going to be, especially after me and Rarebit are going to war, it's going to be, I wouldn't say easy pickings, but weakened, but let's go through who's in it. Got Boylan. In fact, she still never beat Boylan 1-on-1. So we shall see. And we know he's very capable of winning a match like that.
Yes.
Jack Johnson. We know Jack Johnson. Do we need
Jack
to talk
speaks
about
for
Jack?
itself. Jack, to me, listen, we know already. We know.
Jimmy, I've met. The only time me and Jimmy been in a ring is in the Rumble. And he is athletic as hell.
Oh, my God. What he does, I mean, he adds such a unique perspective and unique way of doing things in the ring in GTM that we really haven't seen before. He is so fascinating and so fun to watch. This guy is unreal. I mean, he's pretty guys who aren't human, but he does.
Yeah,
exactly. And his versatility.
He's someone I would actually love to wrestle, just because.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it would be a great match.
That would be a dream match, you and Jimmy Jackson. That would be a match I would pay a lot of pounds to see.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have anything against Jimmy winning, as long as he cashed in for a one-on-one and not behind my back.
I think Jimmy's not Rarebit. I think Jimmy's got a little bit of integrity, at least I think.
And Tommy Dillon, who the hell's Tommy Dillon? I mean, maybe is he still undefeated in GTM and he's little?
Yeah, he was a champion before, and I've always, the wild card Tommy Dillon. I mean, is a guy that I think Disciple made short work of him there in that promotion when he was a champion there, and and he kind of, I guess, speaking about cheaters, kind of in a way, kind of used an obscure, I guess, way of doing things and tried to get himself to be in this spot here to take it away from you. So I mean, Tommy Dillon, Tommy Dillon's Tommy Dillon. What more else can I say? I mean, as far as I can see, he just tries to make talk about training all the time online, and I don't really know who he is. He's beat a bunch of nobodies in these open challenges for the most part.
He
hasn't. Tommy Dillon, listen. Tommy Dillon to me is not a guy that I would see that, but you never know. Listen, maybe I'm missing something here. Guys like this, you know what? They would feed off, this. They would feed off being told, yeah, they can't win, they can't do this, and a guy like him might be able to come away and usurp the briefcase. So you never know. Guys like this could be really motivated.
If he does win, let's see if he's ready to come play with the big boys in GTM.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of been the knock on Tommy Dillon. When he was a champion in nonstop action wrestling, people felt like, he was beating trainees. And then when Disciple came up and stepped up to him, and Disciple squashed him. I mean, so that's, but again, maybe he's got something to prove, and he's had some success in GTM. So I guess we'll have to see. But I think Jimmy Jackson and you, I would love to see that. I think Jimmy Jackson and you would be a dream match. I mean, part of me says Boylan for kind of the personal history there, but you and Jimmy Jackson that would be a headliner. I would love to see a series that would be to me where I'd really like to see you and him go at it. But we'll have to see. I want to get to a couple of comments here. We've got a little bit of more time with the champion, and of course, Mr. Angel would like to say, I can attest to the fact that both Rarebit and Bentley hit hard. And Mr. Angel's got an open challenge once again. And I mean, what do you make of that? I mean, another open challenge from Gareth Angel. I mean, that's always there that you have to talk about there, Mr. Angel.
I guess he's pretty much beaten everyone there is to beat in GTM. He has beat me yet in my first GTM match before I became Vigilante. We've not.
But that was a different Bentley.
That was a different Bentley. So we've not squared off at all since that. We've squared off in the Rumble, but I didn't eliminate him. He didn't eliminate me. So yeah, he's not really. He's faced a lot of everyone, so I'm assuming he's just going out there looking for competition.
Well, I think because you have to remember, as you know, it's an interesting time in GTM now. I mean, GTM, you think about some of the new people that we've added. We think about some of the other matches. I mean, you got another dream match, Sean Only, Billy O'Keefe, and Young Horace. That's a really intriguing triple threat match. I mean, Young Horace I've had on several times. Billy O'Keefe is a young up-and-coming talent. Sean Only, I mean, listen, I just saw Sean Only and RPD wrestle. I mean, so Sean Only and RPD wrestled last weekend. Now this weekend in the Fountains Church, we're going to see Sean Only and Young Horace, an emerging talent, and Billy O'Keefe. So, I mean, listen, if you're Mr. Angel, I mean, you got to find somebody. So who knows who's out there? I mean, listen, that's a very, very intriguing situation there. So we'll have to see. And again, I want people to go. If you want to watch this show, by the way, if you want to watch it, you can now do it on YouTube at Wrestling Church _FCB. Facebook as well, but we put the YouTube link up because we just noticed now that YouTube shows are now going to be streamed on the Wrestling Church FCB page, which is the Fountains Church at Bradford. Also, if you want to support the Fountains Church and everything GT Ministries does, fountainsbradford.org/wrestling. If you think about what's going on in the world and helping out the needy, helping out spreading the good works that we have here in the church, this is the way you can help and support GT Ministries, the Fountain Church. Linda does a phenomenal job. Obviously, we know what Mr. Angel does in the community. This is the way that you want to support these great companies. So please go out there and do those things. So I want to ask you this question. I realize we're coming up close here to the end of our time. And, I could ask you thousands of questions. But I know you got to get ready in the mindset. You got to get ready. We're less than 48 hours from now in the Fountains Church. Big match. But if I were to tell you, you went from being the Never Man, the guy that was the never was. But now I think with everything that's staring in front of you, less than 48 hours from now, you go from the guy that was the Never Man to the Made Man. A guy that goes to me when I think about UK wrestlers right now who are world champions right now as what they would say on the Mount Rushmore. You would be right up there with the RPDs of the world, the Lance Riveras of the world, all the different guys who have championships in major companies or multiple championships. I feel like now what's staring in front of you coming up here Saturday night in the Fountains Church, you could now be the Made Man, almost the top guy, not just in GTM, not just in Bolton, but I think across the entire UK wrestling scene. What does that mean to you?
A lot. It means everything I've looked for.
And I think
devoted to.
Do we hear you now, Bentley? Bentley. It looks like the champion's having a little bit of technical difficulties here, so we hope that the champion will be able to reconnect here shortly. I want to say hello while we do that to Mr. Michael Blackheart. Hello, back for another one. Where is Bolton Town located? They are located in the United Kingdom. They are in England. You can check them out at Bolton Town Wrestling. That is on Instagram, Facebook. You can also check out all the things that Bentley has to offer on his pages, which is Instagram, Bentley_wrestler, Twitter, Bentley Wrestler, Facebook, thevigilante.bentley. And it looks like the champion. Do we have you here now? Did Rarebit try to basically corrupt your internet and basically already try to pull something here or what?
I have no idea. I think.
There we go. Is Rarebit really playing the mind game? That's the first thing I thought. Is Rarebit playing mind games with you off the bat? But again, I mean,
honestly, I was just connected to downstairs Wi-Fi. So
fair enough. So talk to me then, going from the guy that was the never man to the made man to being a guy that's at the top of the mountain here in the UK and world champions. That you have that opportunity. What would that mean to you?
Yeah, so like I was saying, it means everything. It means the world. It means everything I've worked for the past 9 years, everything I've devoted to, everything I've tried to help promote, everything I've done, everything, every match I've had, every training session I've had, every gym session I've had, has all led to this. My body's beaten up from everything, but we carry on. The adrenaline and the amount of passion drives you through, and everything. It would just mean the world. Like, I don't have any more words to say about it. Like, that is all
I feel like it's almost like the time for talking is almost over, because we look at it like, okay, you've had a lot that you've went through to get to this spot. I mean, in Bolton Town, it was almost like if you didn't win now, it was almost like, will you ever win again? In GTM, you bounce back after losing the title, after winning it, and then coming back and winning the Rumble. Now you're in this moment here yet again, and it's almost like I could ask you 1,000 questions, but at this point, you just want to get out there, get in the ring. And I want to say hello one more time to Mr. Michael Blackheart, who, by the way, is in the state of Indiana. He's in Indiana watching this. Indiana. He says, I saw this while at work, had to say hello. There's a lot of sick outfits in the back, basically referring to, I guess, your wardrobe there. So he appreciates that. And also,
they aren't my clothes.
Okay. Well, I wasn't going to ask about clothes because I am not one to ask anybody about clothes. And Mr. Angel would like to say that he might be throwing. That's funny. I don't think you're going to come out to the ring in that. When I watch you live Saturday night, I don't think I'm going to see you in that. That's for sure.
No.
Mr. Angel would like to say he may be throwing out challenges in GTM, but he may be open to answering your challenge in BTW. We'll have to stay tuned for that. And I'll be getting Mr. Angel back on Sportswire very soon. And Mr. Blackheart wants that. He wants that, by the way, Michael.
The hat or the
hat. He wants the hat.
I think Gareth is forgetting that he's had a shot at the BTW title.
I think so too. Listen, I mean, obviously, we'll have to certainly see it. I'll ask Mr. Angel that. And obviously, I want to say one more thing to Michael, because Michael, his father-in-law is actually a referee as well. He is a referee for a company, XCW Shelbyville, and Skulls wants to say got milk. For whatever reason, he says got milk. I think
the cows.
Yeah, the cows. All right. Obviously, I could ask you a lot of questions, but I want to ask you first, what would it mean to you once again now to be the GTM World Champion and go 2 for 2 in championship matches in 2 weeks?
It's one of those things where we're in the middle of it now. I've done one, and I was actually very ill last week. So I actually had the best preparation. So I won the title. I went out, was fine till about the Monday, and then I was quite ill, just with flu. Maybe I don't even know.
That was me a few weeks ago, by the way. I was sick for like 10 days. It was like I just couldn't shake the stomach flu. Yeah. It was like terrible.
And I wasn't able to sleep, and like the last couple of nights are the only nights I've been able to sleep. So it's kind of been a haze since I won the title. So it's been today's been getting myself back in the swing of things, I was back in the gym yesterday, just working my way up back to Saturday. So we've had that going on. So it's been hard to actually focus on what's going on. But I suppose that could also be a good thing because I've not been fixating.
I was going to say sometimes in sports or even in a big match, the more you think about something, you become overstimulated, or it becomes a mental thing, and then you kind of don't prepare the way you should normally. So maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah. So got to see the positives when something like this happens. You've got to find a way to make it work. And I'm feeling a lot better now.
Good. I'm happy to hear you're feeling better. I mean, and I think you should be feeling better because you now finally had that moment. You've been a world champion now and got to enjoy it. And I think that's going to really help us here in seeing you get over the finish line. I can't stress enough why people should be following you in all of those great platforms, to keep in touch with the vigilante of pro wrestling. He is certainly one of our all-time favorites on Sportswire Radio. And if I were to have a Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, you would definitely be inducted. And I have a feeling, because we are coming up on our 5-year anniversary. Stay tuned for some in January. But I'll get to that down the road. But I'm sure we'll induct you then. But that'll be for a different time, different place. But I realize you're a busy man. I can ask you many, many more questions. So I want to ask you then these 2 last questions. The first is, what are your final words to Rarebit before Saturday night in the Fountains Church for the GTM World title?
Rarebit, you big Welsh.
You big block.
I thought we were friends. Obviously not. I thought we had a good understanding with each other. I thought that, well, I don't know what I thought. Obviously can't trust a monster who doesn't speak that much. I thought I had him at arm's length. I thought we had the understanding. We had some good times together. We were tagged. We had a nice tag team match together quite a while ago, might add. But we had, we always had that slight camaraderie, that slight understanding. Stay out of my way, I'll stay out of yours. And or I helped him. I saved him from getting beat up by Disciple.
And I remember. We spoke about that, and there was this mutual respect, and it was almost like there was something there.
Yeah. So. You betrayed me. You took what I worked for my entire life off me. And be prepared on Saturday to face the consequences of that. Never mind it being my funeral. It's going to be the funeral of the Rarebit. We will not see the Rarebit again after Saturday for a long, long time in GTM.
Whoa! I think I heard something there, ladies and gentlemen. I think Bentley has come back. Shots have been fired. If I'm Rarebit, I think what I just heard sounds to me that the vigilante of pro wrestling could be unlocking some justice, not only with that justice kick, but similar to the likes of those who've been in the box office this year and who have been big-time vigilantes like, John Wick, Robert McCall, and the Equalizer 3. I mean, it sounds like vigilante, the pro wrestling Bentley very well could be on his way to being the John Wick and the Robert McCall of pro wrestling, especially looking at you, Rarebit. Here's looking at you, because I think Bentley is going to do what Mr. McCall did 9 seconds in the opening scene of Equalizer 3, and that is get rid of you in GTM for a very, very long time. Last question I want to ask you before closing thoughts. What do you want to say to the crowd Saturday night in the Fountains Church?
Get yourself down. Make yourself loud. No matter who you're sporting for, because I know there's that minority who still like the Rarebit and still, chant for him. No matter who you're sporting for, please be loud. Please make the atmosphere raucous. Make it the loudest it's ever been in the Fountains Church, because this is what it's all about. These moments. Whether the chanting for me, chanting for Rarebit, chanting for anybody, as long as it's loud, I will give the best version of Bentley. And you might get to see, because I'm not really sure if it's actually happened before, if there's been a champion who's had 2 titles of 2 quite prominent companies in the UK, rather than a champion of, one of the higher companies and then one of the lower, not to disgrace, places, but,
Sure. let's say a lesser tier, not so much a
Yeah.
low company, but a lesser tier championship. Understood? Yeah, that.
So yeah, so you will get to see somebody who is the champion of both.
Yeah,
And
it is a rare thing. I mean, RPD right now holds 3 world titles. He's got the TNT, the Wrestle Island, but then he's got Odyssey. So I think, but you with Bolton Town and GTM, this is an opportunity for something special here. This is something that I think that is why a lot of people need to follow Bentley on all of his social media platforms. And Rarebit, I have a message for you, Rarebit, before we get to closing thoughts. Rarebit, after everything that I've seen Bentley go through, I ask you this question, Rarebit. Do you understand weakness? Do you understand pain? Do you understand death? And do you understand suffering? Because I think Bentley has learned all that.
I don't think the rabbit understands anything.
Well, that was the line from Mr. McCall in Equalizer 3, and he said that.
Oh, is it? Okay, I haven't seen the film. Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry,
so I kind of you see me. I see you so much in that lane right now is McCall and certainly Wick. But I could ask you thousands of questions. You've given us so much time. I'm so grateful for that. I want to thank you for this opportunity. I want to give you the floor now. Anything else that you want to plug, share, or say, and I turn it over to you, my friend. The floor is yours.
Yeah, as usual, thanks everyone for listening. Whoever's tuned in on, I have been live on Instagram as well.
Any Instagram comments? Anybody say anything on Instagram?
Just one guy recently. Adam said hello. That's about it.
Hi, and check us out if you're on Instagram. Check us out on Sportswire. On all of our streams, we're on YouTube at Sportswire Radio 6579 backspace streams. We have a radio station which you can check us out live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year at sportnarium.com/player. So if you're out there on Instagram, check us out.
Plug on my Instagram, but it's thanks to everyone for whatever you've tuned in from. And
Absolutely.
I would plug the shirts, but I pretty much sold out again.
Well, I hope one day you sell them on a place. I hope one day you sell them on a place where I can actually buy it. I can actually buy the shirt. I know you do big cartels, so hopefully you do another source so I can go buy a shirt because I want to wear one of your shirts soon. So hopefully we'll work on that next time you come on. When you have the GTM World Title in the end of October, I'm sure we'll see that, and then maybe we'll talk about that then. So obviously,
I'll just fly to New York at some point.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I would love to see that. So definitely, hope springs eternal, and definitely, I would love to see that. But first of all, congratulations on everything you've done right now. Currently, I think you're on the verge of history. I can't wait to watch you live. I always love GTM shows because I get a chance to watch them live in real time. I'm going to be talking with you for sure next month about this and your match at Bolton Town. And thank you as always. Good luck out there. And I can't wait to watch you. And congratulations again on finally becoming that made man that you deserved so long ago to be.
Thank you very much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the vigilante of pro wrestling, Bentley himself. And before we go here, Michael Blackheart would like to say that hat is legendary. It was wonderful to meet you, and he hopes you fly to Indiana one day. And we hope that Bentley flies to the GTM World Championship, to the top of the stratosphere, which we know that he will do. And again, you can follow Bentley in all the links below. You can also watch the show here on the Wrestling Church FCB YouTube page, which I've listed in the link below. Also, check us out at sportnarium.com/player, and you can watch all of our shows and also support our sponsor, Dooley.com, Instagram at DooleyOfficial. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, and signing off here. But I'll be back tomorrow night, 8 p.m. British Standard Time, with the rock idol of the UK, Jenny Hayes. And GTM, support them on all of their great platforms. Thank you, everybody. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. The number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio.